Crazy.
So I want us to ask you a kind of a question. I've been reading this book called Start With Why, Simon Sinek. I don't know if you know the book. Basically, it's the idea that if you can convince people of your why, then your how and your what are much easier sells. Why do you do what you do now?
That's a very good question. I'm not a philanthropist. I don't do it from a philanthropic point of view. I do it because I think that if you have a large platform and you're a man and you're afraid to tell the truth, then you're a coward. So I do it for myself. I help all the people who come to me and say, you've helped all these people, or you've helped me, or you've done these amazing things for society. That's great. But I don't see it philanthropic. I think it would be unfair and disingenuous for me to sit here and say, I'm trying to save the world. I know I have a platform and I know what the truth is, and I'm not a coward. And I'm glad that I am helping people. And I think that's very important. And I think that God's light is truth. And the more you spread the truth, the harder it is for demons to control us all. And I also believe that raw action solves everything. I think that, just as you said, I just got up and started working and just started the pod. Raw action solves everything. So I believe if you have an objective, you should attack it absolutely. But I do it because I think it. I think these things and people listen to me, so I will say them. And I know I am punished for that, but I don't see the alternative. I think I would be a coward to sit and say, well, I think these things, but I shouldn't say it because it's going to upset X, Y, Z. The Matrix, as we've seen it does. But could I live with myself as a coward? I don't think so. So if people are going to listen to me and I'm going to talk, then I'm going to tell them exactly what I believe and think and exactly what is true. And that's why I do it. And I'm glad I'm helping people. What's interesting is, I guess maybe I am a good person after. Because if I was saying things that I believed hurt people, I don't think I'd do it. Now, if you want to get deeper down the rabbit hole, would I believe the things I believe and think the things I think if they were detrimental and they hurt people? Probably not. But if I was saying things that I thought genuinely was damaging society, I'd be a lot more likely to be quiet. It's actually quite an interesting thought experiment for me to understand how I'd have a worldview, which I believe propagating would damage society. I can't work that one out exactly. However, I know I'm helping people. I know I'm helping society. I know I'm helping individuals. I'm damaging the matrix, but I'm helping individuals because there's no light without dark. So if you help individualism, you're damaging collectivism. There's no other way about it. If you say to people, I'm going to tell you how I think, and it's going to make your particular life better, and it benefits that one individual, that's bad for the ant farm. You don't want one ant to stand up and say, this is garbage. You don't want one ant to say, I'm tired of carrying dirt. This is stupid. No. So I understand what I'm doing is good for the individual and it's bad for the matrix as a whole. But I'm just telling my story and things I've learned and things I've worked out. And it's very interesting you said about this book. I haven't read a book since jail. I don't read books ever. Everything I say is just me learning the hard way. And I guess I'd like some people at home to learn from my lessons and perhaps they can get some of the benefit without such a hard time, but we'll see how it goes.
I think I have the book here. I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, I can't wait. When I go back to jail, I promise to read it.
Yeah. And maybe you'll have a lot of time to read it. I don't know. Hopefully not. I don't want to say that actually.
We'll see.
Yeah. This is something that you've talked about before, but we're in this war between good and evil.
Yep.
I truly believe that.
Yep.
And what that evil is, I think some people say it's deep state, or it's propaganda, or it's establishment, or it's, centuries old families. There's no way to know who it is, right?
Yep.
And that's the hardest part. How do you fight against the enemy when you don't know exactly who the enemy is?
Yep.
But I feel like in this war of good versus evil, you're a general in the movement.
Doing my best.
And I think when you can understand and realize that there is a movement of people behind you, I think that maybe changes your perspective, your purpose.
Well, it does make me braver. It makes me braver because it makes me feel like my suffering's worthwhile because I am suffering. I want everyone at home to understand that I don't need to do, you're right. I don't need to do any of this. I don't need money. I don't need the views. It's detrimenting my life. I've lost millions and millions of dollars and I've gone to jail and all my banks have been frozen and they're trying to put me back and all of this is happening. But I think when you ask who our enemies are, I don't think it's as simple as naming a family or the deep state, etc. I think the enemy is deception. Demons operate from the dark, and we're living in a world which is built on lies. Every single thing is a lie. Everything they tell you is a lie. Every system you're supposed to believe in is corrupted to the core. And I think if you're going to make or build a correct society, a fair and just society, you should at least do it under the guise of truth. If you're looking at a chessboard and you have to decide the move you want to make, well, you want to understand the chessboard first. You have to analyze the chessboard and see where the pieces are. We can't do that now because the entire chessboard's cloaked in darkness. You don't know how the legal system works. You don't know how the political system works. You don't know how the financial system works. So when they come along and say, we need to do this for the good of society, how can you even make that decision when you haven't even seen how society functions? So I think if you just tell the truth about everything all the time, From there, perhaps it would be chaotic for a while as the matrix breaks. It's very likely. But at least if you tell the truth all the time, you have a fair starting block. You have a clear chessboard from where you can decide what moves should be made for how society should function. And we're all humans, and humans are fallible. None of us are perfect. We're making mistakes, and we've built these systems to keep some semblance of peace and serenity amongst society. And we've done an okay job for a while. But I think now we're entering a stage where the highly politicized judicial systems, along with the highly politicized medical system, along with the highly politicized financial system, along with the highly politicized, we're getting to a point now where everything's about to crumble. And I think it's very important that everyone understands the truth of how the world operates before that happens. And my hope is that we can build a new system, or there's a new age and a new world where things are genuinely fair and just. I don't want to go on, but just for everyone at home, if you think the law is fair and just, you're going to learn the hard way that it's not. You're going to learn the very hard way. You can go into any jail in any country in the world, and you'll find people who got screwed by their lawyer or screwed by the system. Black, white, rich, poor, everybody. And of course, everyone thinks of the police and the judicial system as somebody kills someone, police catches them, goes to jail. And they do that well, and they're supposed to. But there's also the innocent guy who forgot a number on a piece of paper once in 2001, and his life's over. So, and especially if that person's a conservative, then he's really in trouble. So it's difficult.